Angie Bowman, and this is my dog Magnus. We are here today. Magnus, sit. And we're going to teach you the skill Leave It. Leave It is a valuable skill. It can save your dog and some medical bills if there's something dangerous on the ground. If your dog has a reliable Leave It skill, you can prevent them from eating something that could be harmful, or even something that just is disgusting that you don't want your dog to touch. It is also an impulse control behavior, which helps teach the dog self-control. A dog with good self-control is calmer, has a relaxed stay, you can trust their stays, you can just trust them more. So it is also a good behavior to work on impulse control. So to start off with Leave It, we want a plastic container with a lid, some dry kibble, and a leash. So we're going to start with the lid, which is over here on the floor, and there's a couple pieces of kibble on it. And what you just saw was Magnus took a look at it and then looked right at me. So you're going to reinforce your dog for not engaging with the food on the ground. Okay. In the beginning, we have a leash on, and we're going to stay further away from the food than your dog can get to. So you want to prevent them from getting to it with the leash. So right now we have a 4-foot leash on. We're about 6 feet away from the food. As your dog is kind of getting this exercise, you can walk a little bit closer, which may have them look a little bit more at the food. Good. And as you get closer, you just play this same game. They look at it and look back at you. You can then kind of do a nice circle around the food. Good. That was a quick look at it. That was good. As long as they don't go and touch the food, that's a win. Good. So Magnus has done this before, so he's really strong at it. You might make a circle around the food that's even 10 feet wide. Stay far enough away so that your dog can be successful. You want your dog to do what Magnus did, okay? And you're gonna find the distance that is reasonable for that. Then as your dog gets more proficient, you'll get closer and closer. So he's doing super well with this. So we're gonna make it harder now. We're gonna take this lid, put the kibble inside the plastic container, and close it with the lid. And then we're going to take the leash off. So the advantage of the leash before was we couldn't get close to it. We had a little bit of control. But notice that I still kept the leash loose and slack so he wasn't under any stress, because a tight leash can excite or stress out a dog. Here, Magnus, over here. So I'm still gonna have them be pretty far away. The lid is on the plastic container. And then we're going to, just like we did with the leash, do the same thing. Be far away. When he looks at it and looks at me, I'm gonna reinforce it. Good. That was a quick little check it out and look right back at me. Now that he's reliably doing it, we're gonna start to add a cue. When he looks at it, look. We're gonna use our cue. Leave it. Leave it. Right when he looks at it and is starting to look back at me, I'm gonna say the cue, leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. And I'm getting Magnus really close to the container. Leave it, because he's done this before. You're going to be able to do this probably 4, 5, 10 feet away. And then when they are not looking at that container at all, and you're right on top of it, then you make it harder by taking the lid off. Here, Magnus. Sit. Put the container on the ground. Now it's going to be harder because it will smell. And start from back here. When they look at the container and look at you, say your cue. Good. And reinforce them for looking at you. Leave it. Leave it. So, because Magnus is doing so well, the next step is to put something more exciting in that container. Leave it. Good. And then it will make it harder for him to ignore it. Right now it's easy for him to ignore it because it's his kibble and I have better treats and he knows the game. So that is your next step. When they are able to completely ignore that object, put more interesting things in that object. Leave it. So if you saw that, he looked at it, I said, leave it, and he looked at me. So even though I'm giving him a treat, they're the same treats in there, he's willing to leave those to get the reinforcement from me. He's allowed to check it out, he's just not allowed to bring his nose down towards it. So I hope that gives you an idea of how to start working with Leave It. Start in a way that your dog can control it. So on leash, far enough away with something that is not super exciting. Then step it up by putting your food that's not super exciting inside a closed container, and then you can, based on where your dog is at, if that's still very compelling, you can leave it closed up and on leash and start to get closer. Or at that point you can take them off of leash and stay far away, sitting in a position and having them look at it and look at you. Little baby steps will get you to your goal. So I hope that gives you some great information on how to practice Leave It. All right, look forward to seeing you on our next video. Take care.